What is going on today, YouTube? It's your boy CP, and today we're back with a brand new video. Today we're going to be doing a new segment called Cowboys Talk. It's where I discuss things about the Cowboys. Right now, we're going to be talking about free agency and guys that I think we should sign, trade, let walk, move, position, whatever. So, these top five guys. I'm sure you guys can guess who's going to be on this list. But like I said, it's just going to be talking about who's coming up in free agency, what I personally think we should do with them, what I think the smart decision would be, but it's just my opinion. So if you don't agree, then tell me in the comments. What do you think should be different? Where did you disagree with? If you agree, tell me why you agree with me. And if you're not on the board, if you have any questions, just comment below. Also, if you enjoy this video, make sure you like. So let's get started. So first things first, like I said, you guys should know who's going to be on this list. First is Dak Prescott, quarterback. Like, honestly, everybody knows quarterback is probably the most important position on any football team, whether it's high school, college, professional, Canadian league, any level, even Pee Wee football. Quarterbacks, nine times out of 10, is one of the most important guy. So, Dak Prescott, he said he initially said he wanted $40 million a year, but I think he was talking about, okay, I'll go down to like anywhere between 32 and 35, which is still a lot, but it's a reasonable amount. And I understand why he wants this amount, because this is what really lists the problem. So Carson Wentz, he was drafted the same year as Dak Prescott, and Jared Goff drafted the same year as Dak Prescott. Those guys were 1 and 2 picks of the year. However, Wentz has had an injury problem, so that's kind of kept him down from being as good as he could be and winning more games for the Eagles. So, but he still got paid. Jared Goff, he's not better than Dak Prescott. Like, if you look at their numbers, you can tell that Prescott is definitely a better QB. Now, because Dak Prescott had a bad year in 2017, people think, oh, he doesn't deserve it, Another thing, people want to say, oh, he's asking too much, It's because he's a Cowboy. Now, with all that being said, personally, I think we should franchise tag Dak Prescott. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I think the best move we have is to franchise tag him. Now, if we're not going to franchise tag him, then I guess we probably have to pay him. But letting him walk and go to another team, because there are plenty of teams that need quarterbacks. You can look at the Bengals. The Patriots are going to be looking for a new quarterback because they've been talking, and even Brady was like, yeah, I'm going to be looking for new teams in the offseason. So if he goes to New England, then that's going to be a big mistake the Cowboys ever did, was letting Dak Prescott walk. So I honestly think we should either franchise tag him or pay him. If we do pay him, then we're going to have to franchise tag somebody else who's asking, which is actually going to be the next guy up. So if you haven't been able to tell, it's Amari Cooper. Like I said, if we pay Dak the money that he wants, which, like I said, is a lot, but it's semi-reasonable, we're going to have to franchise tag Cooper. Now, go back to Prescott real fast. The reason why I say franchise tag him, because, like I said, he's asking for 32 to 35 million a year. Coop, I believe he's only asking for like 15 to, I want to say 19 million a year. I'd rather pay that 15 to 19 than paying 32 to 35. Like, because that honestly saves you money. I mean, granted, with the franchise tag, you're going to have to pay that at some point, but at least you have him for this next season and be like, okay, now you got to earn that contract now. So that's what I'm saying. If you're going to franchise one or two guys, it's going to be between Amari Cooper and Dak Prescott. That's just what I think. But Cooper definitely changed our team because before he came to the team, we were 3 and 5. Wait, I take that back. We were 3 and 4. And what happened was we were winning. It was like we lost 1 week, win 1 week, lost 1 week, win 1 week. And it's because we have lack of offense. Our defense played well, but our offense struggled in the red zone, struggled to get first downs, struggled to convert on third down, and we really didn't have anyone to throw to because we didn't have Dez Bryant. Witten had just retired. So it was just the Ezekiel Elliott show, the Cole Beasley, who was supposed to be really good on third down, but he hasn't really been that same guy from like 2015, 2016 when he had to be the number one receiver when Tez Bryant was injured. So I honestly think like, hey, we definitely need to bring back Cooper. So like I said, either pay Coop, tag Dak, or vice versa. Tag Coop, pay Dak. Next we got Robert Quinn. This man's he got suspended for I don't remember what it was for, but it's not. He missed the first 2 games of the season. Came in Game 3 against his former team, Miami Dolphins, and just tore it up. I believe he had 2 or 3 sacks in that first game, which was amazing. And then throughout the entire season, he ended up leading the team in sacks. So I believe he had like 10.5 sacks, which is more than DeMarcus Lawrence, which was more than Jalen Smith, Tyrone Crawford, everyone on defense. He had more sacks, and he's a new guy. So that's kind of like, in a way, the freshman leading the varsity team in sacks. I'm just trying to use an analogy so you guys can understand like how important that is and like how, because we needed a pass rusher, and Robert Quinn has been that pass rusher. Because not to say that DeMarcus Lawrence isn't producing, because he is, he's just not getting after the quarterback. And I think what that is, teams are more focused on like, okay, got to keep Lawrence off our quarterback, so try to block him. Blocking him is a priority. However, when you try to double team Lawrence, you normally got one-on-one on Robert Quinn. That's why Robert Quinn is supposed to. Well, he did actually tee off on a lot of quarterbacks, and that's fine. I'll take that every single season. If he wants to put up more sacks than DeMarcus Lawrence, and Lawrence is still getting sacks because he had about 6 or 7. So it's not like Lawrence didn't get any sacks at all. He's getting sacks, just not as many because he's drawing more double teams. So it's like the guard and the tackle on that side has to block Lawrence. We brought in Michael Bennett, who I think he had a sack, maybe not. I'm not completely sure. And he was more of a run stopper though, so he plugged up the whole run fist. So that's him against the center. Then you got the guard who normally would help out, but you're not going to double team on both sides. That's not, because if you have a four-man front, and then you're either going to have one-on-one, or if you're blitzing in the 4-3 defense, and even if you blitz one guy and you try to double team somebody, one guy is going to come free. It doesn't matter who it is. One guy's just going to go off and hit your quarterback. So you can't really double team DeMarcus Lawrence. You just got to make sure that your right tackle is just going to keep your quarterback protected. So I honestly think we should bring back Robert Quinn, because Robert Quinn actually helped our defense in ways people didn't even realize it, because he helped us get more pressures. He got sacks, and he actually kind of, I don't want to say he forced the interceptions that we had, but what happens 9 times out of 10 when the quarterback throws an interception is because he's under pressure, and normally Robert Quinn was that guy who was bringing the pressure. So that's what I'm saying, bring him back. Next we got Sean Lee. Sean Lee has been the leader of the defense since 2010. He was a second-round draft pick. He was a great defensive player. However, I believe he's 31. If he's not 31, he's definitely 30. And health has been a problem for him. And granted, yes, he did play all 16 games this season, but he's been the backup to Leighton Vander Esch, who got injured mid-season, so he had to be a starter. So, and then there was one point where he did kind of get banged up, but he came back into the game, and he was like, all right, I'm good. But I think, honestly, like, I'm not saying just let him walk. If you could try to restructure his contract in a way where he's with us for like another year or 2 for less money, I believe he'll take that because he's going to do what's best for the team. But the reason why last season he was contemplating about retiring is because he knew, like, look, Leighton is younger, he's a little bit more durable. Granted, he did have that neck injury, but if you saw the way he injured his neck and it put him out for the rest of the season, you would see, like, look, nobody would have been able to come back from that. So, yeah, I'd rather him sit out the rest of the season, get healthy, and then come back next year and tear it up like he was in his rookie year than to risk aggravating that injury even more to the point where he has to retire after just his 2nd or 3rd season. So, if you ask me, it was smarter to just bench him for the rest of the year. But if you want to bring back Sean Lee, He's going to understand, like, look, I can't be the star. Because, yes, we do a 4-3 defense, but normally Sean Lee plays where Leighton is. But he can play anywhere on when it comes to linebacker. He can play middle, he can play left outside, he can play right outside. But 9 times out of 10, we've been doing a lot more 2 linebacker sets, so we've been doing a lot more dollar, a lot more nickel. So it's like either you're going to have Jalen Smith and Sean Lee or Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch, because they never really have just Leighton and Sean Lee on the field with no Jalen, because Jalen's like that Mike linebacker. You need your Mike linebacker to just because the Mike linebacker 9 times then he controls the defense. He's going to be like, hey, I need you to get set, cover 3. Oh, they're doing this, they're doing this. So you need Jalen Smith to do that because that's his job. 9 times out of 10, out of all the defensive players, the middle linebacker plays the most downs because he's always on the field and he's normally your best tackler. So if you want to bring Sean Lee back as the linebacker coach, I'm all for it. But I honestly don't really see us bringing him back as a player after this season. Well, I shouldn't even say after this season, but next season. But if he does, I'm not saying I don't want him back. I love it, but I just don't realistically see him coming back. And plus with Mike McCarthy, I don't know how his defense is going to work because he was talking about, okay, it's still going to be 4 down linemen, but that can really mean anything. Because, like, yes, they would deconfirm, like, we want to keep the 4-3, but it's going to be a different scheme. So you never know. That really could mean, okay, I'm going to interpret it a little bit more nickel, maybe some dime packages, which again leaves you with only one middle linebacker, and it's going to be Jalen Smith. So if you ask me, Sean Lee's role is going to decrease even more. Next, and last but not least, we got Byron Jones. 2015 first-round draft pick. He played corner his rookie year, didn't record an interception. His sophomore year, he moved to free safety, recorded 1 interception. His third year, he was still at free safety. He recorded 1 pick, but that was it. Last year in 2018, he moved back to corner, and he did pretty well. Coverage-wise, he was one of the best cover guys in the league because I think he had like not allowed a touchdown or all season allowed like 1 or 2, and like he didn't really, and which is great, but he didn't have any interceptions. Now I know what you're saying, like cornerbacks, it's not just based on interceptions, but if you ask me, like if you're not getting a guy who can at least like bat the ball away or get his head around so he can deflect the pass or pick it off, then and it's like what's crazy is a lot of times Byron Jones kind of gets mossed against like a guy like Michael Thomas. He would get mossed by. Like I'm just being realistic with you guys because I don't want to say he struggled because against the Saints back in week 4 of this past season, the whole secondary, I don't want to say they struggled, but they just couldn't get off the field on 3rd down. So I think that's a big problem. Our corners just like I don't know if they get tired or what it is, but like we don't play as well on 1st and 2nd down as we should be playing on 3rd. So like we'll go all out on 1st down, all out on 2nd down, and it's like 3rd down we're tired, we need a breather, center, and they just stop playing the way we need to be playing. And that's not good. That's not fundamental football. That's all I can really say. So at this point, what I think we should do, we should either let him walk, and that would save us because he's asking for about 14 to 15 million. And for somebody who's, if you want to say he's one of the top corners in the league, to me he hasn't really shown why he should be considered like one of the best corners in the league. Because you got Jalen Ramsey, you got Marcus Peters, you got Richard Sherman. Those guys do well and not just taking away your best receiver. Granted, yes, that's your number 1 job. Don't let anybody catch the ball. However, in a situation where you need an interception to win the game, Byron Jones has not been that guy. Because those 2 interceptions I mentioned earlier, those were not, oh, we need an interception to clinch the game. No, he's never done that in his career where he just won the game with an interception. So that's just me. I think we should either let him. We could trade him, but I don't think it's going to happen because all teams know like his contract was to run up. So like trading him is just gonna bring the Cowboys problem to another team. So I don't think anybody else is gonna want to do that. I mean, granted, sometimes what happens is they'll like sign a player to a contract, and then they'll say it's like this long contract, or even if it's like worth a decent amount of money, they'll just use that so they can trade him, and then just not worry about like, oh, we trade him, not only we're gonna save some money, we're also gonna be able to bring in somebody new. But honestly, I think we should try to trade somebody as like our #1 corner. Because honestly, Byron Jones, he's played he's played reasonably well. I'm not gonna say he's been trash, but the problem is it's like, bro, like cornerbacks are known for getting interceptions. Like when I hear cornerback, the first thing I think is somebody picking off a pass, or at least batting the ball away so nobody else catches it. Guys like Richard Sherman, Jalen Ramsey, Key to lead, all those guys, they get their head around. That's why they're so good. Because I remember I heard Richard Sherman talk about, I think he said in an interview or something. He said the moment the ball is in the air, I automatically become a receiver. And if you go back and look at Richard Sherman's highlights, a lot of the time you would think the way he catches the ball on an interception, you would think that he was a receiver. Because a lot of times he'll get to where he needs to get to, and then like he'll just either over the shoulder it, or like he'll jump up and he can moss a receiver, and that's not Byron Jones. He's just, granted, yes, he had like great broad jump and a great, then those measurables are great. I'm not saying he's not a great corner, but he hasn't. I guess what I'm trying to say, his consistency hasn't met to where it needs to be. Because if you're a first round draft pick, all eyes are on you. You're expected to play well, especially if you're in like the top 20 when it comes to picks. I believe he was like the 24th pick, but I mean, like, and especially at the time, because when we drafted him, we expected him to be the #1 corner, and he did okay in his rookie season. But like I said, no interceptions. He had a couple pass deflections, but it's not where it needs to be. So I think it's time to move on from Byron Jones. If you want to cut him, then go ahead and cut him and let somebody else. Or if you want to try to bring him back, but if we do bring him back, I don't see his role being the same as that number. He might be like the #2 guy or the #3 guy, because he can play in the slot. I'll give him that. He can play in the slot. So if you want to give him that role that Orlando Scandrick had a few years back, where occasionally he'll play outside, but 9 times out of 10 he'll play that slot corner role. All right, cool. See how he does. But he cannot be our #1 quarterback. We need to sign somebody in free agency. See, part of me wants to say, or we draft somebody, because we have I believe it's like the 17th or 18th pick. But with like every once in a while, you'll get somebody in the draft in the first round, and they'll do exceptionally well. They'll have like a big year, but I feel like that's going to be too hard to do. So like you can't just like go eeny meeny miny, oh, pick this guy and then he's the best corner in the game. No. But what I do know is if we bring in a veteran that can play well, because I believe Chris Harris is going to be a free agent this year, so maybe we bring in him. I mean, I know he's going to ask for a solid amount of money, but maybe we bring in him. Maybe we bring in some other corners. I'm not completely sure. I can't list any corners that are about to be free agents, but maybe we trade for a corner. Because I believe that, I think it was Denzel Ward or somebody that was requesting a trade. And it was a cornerback. I was like, hey, you could come to Dallas if you want to. So that's all I got to say for now. But I want to thank y'all for watching this video. Make sure you like and comment below what you think. You agree, disagree, what would you change? Do you think I'm going to be right? Do you have any predictions of your own that you want to tell me? Let me know in the comments, and I will talk to you guys later.